The 2025-26 school year has been a year of change for students across the U.S. and especially in Texas as a new House Bill 1481, was signed into law, and this law specifically bans cell phones in schools. Students are no longer allowed to have their phones on them during school hours and must have them put away, and this is by law. In the school that I teach, which is in Texas, students, if they have their phone out and they are caught with it during school hours, they have to serve hours of community service, which is at the school, in order to get their phones back. And one thing that I discussed in a previous video, which I'll post a link to down in the description, is the impact of this cell phone ban and how some parents in places around Texas were very concerned and just completely outraged at the cell phone ban. Some parents were saying that, well, if there is a school shooting, I want my child to have their phone on them so they can call me and at least say goodbye. Some parents were expressing just the whole issue of any kind of emergency in a school. Like, they want their child to be able to contact them. And my response was like, well, a lot of teachers have phones in their classrooms. They also have phones on them. So, there are ways to contact parents. But nonetheless, both students and parents were concerned about this phone ban. Well, there is an article that was published that I'd like to take a look at because I think that this is an encouraging article and just kind of like highlights the fact that this cell phone ban is actually a good thing. And I think students may enjoy it as well. This article is on kltv.com. The headline reads, East Texas teacher, students navigate impacts of Texas phone ban in schools. And I'm actually in East Texas, so this is speaking directly to me here. This was published on September 1st, 2025, and this is from Mineola, Texas, I guess that's how you pronounce it. It says, after the Texas legislature passed a ban on all personal communication devices in public and charter schools, teachers, parents, and students in East Texas were concerned and skeptical about the impact it would have on the classroom. But now, several weeks into the school year, some teachers and students are realizing the new ban is improving the quality of education and mental well-being of students. Deborah Armstrong, a physics, engineering, and robotics teacher at Mineola High School with 20 years of teaching experiences, greets her students into their first period class for the second week of the school year. As they settle into their seats, not a single phone is in sight. The ban prevents students from using cell phones, tablets, laptops, smartwatches, and other communication devices during the school day on school grounds. Each individual school can decide how to implement the policy. Some schools, like Mineola High School, allow students to keep the devices in their backpacks, but they must be turned off and out of sight. Other schools require students to lock phones in secure lock boxes or require students to turn in devices. And as I stated, where I work, students have to keep their phones out of sight in their backpacks. They're not allowed to be on their persons, and they must be turned off. Now, so this year, I just passed the 3-week mark, and I have had to take up one cell phone so far, which is crazy. One phone. And the phone that I had to take up, actually, it was in a student's backpack, but it went off. And as soon as it happened, they were disappointed, but went ahead and handed it over. And I turned it into the office, and it wasn't a big deal. But that was the only case that I've seen so far. So it is really kind of shocking, but surprising, but also very, what's the word I'm looking for? It just kind of makes you happy as a teacher that, phones are kind of just out of sight, out of mind. People aren't really talking about them. People aren't really concerned. And what I've noticed as well is that a lot of I hardly ever see teachers with their phones out either. Setting a good example for students. And so this is a great thing. And I do agree with kind of what is being said here just in the beginning of this article, that I think it's improving the quality of education because they're just out of the way. They're not becoming an interruption. They're not interrupting classes, and students are not getting distracted by them. So, excellent. Now, going on into this article, it says, Used to be you go in the lunchroom and it was fairly quiet because most people are on their phones, and now you hear laughter and socializing and talking, and yeah, it's shocking how much of a difference it is, and it's only been a week, Armstrong said. Initially skeptical of the phone ban, students Zion Al-Jaid and Kaylee Wilt were unsure how the new law would play out in their day-to-day life at school. I was definitely very shocked because I'm like, phones? How am I supposed to talk to my mom? Recalled Olajide. I was like, oh no, what am I going to do without my phone? All I do is play on my phone when I'm bored, explained Wilt. After 2 weeks of classes, both students now agree that the phone ban is improving their quality of education. It's impacted me positively because I feel like I'm more focused, especially in our downtime, said Olajide. I'm not picking up our phone to scroll through social media, but I have more time to focus and lock in on my work. It's positively changing my education because, like Zion said, I'm not getting on my phone during my free time and just scrolling through Instagram, TikTok, social media, said Wilt. It's made me closer with some people. I've talked to more people more because it gives me something to do during class instead of being on my phone. Before the school year began, Armstrong was also concerned that not having access to student technology would make it harder to teach some class material, especially given the nature of physics, engineering, and robotics, but she believes the benefits of the ban outweigh the negatives. And I completely agree. It is nice. I don't know if heartwarming is the right word to use, but it is very encouraging and just great to hear the feedback from students about this phone ban and how it has impacted them. And I definitely think that this is 100% accurate. Instead of doom scrolling and just going through your phone, making TikToks and stuff at school, you're actually forced to socialize, forced to talk to others, read a book, do something else. I see tons of students, and I do have a reading class, but when students are finished with their work, they're not trying to pull out their phone and check their messages and all this stuff. They are taking their books out and reading books, which is surprising. It is a culture shock for me from the school that I was previously at. So I don't know if it's just the culture itself or if phones has something to do with it, but I suspect that probably a little bit. But it's nice to see that students recognize the value in this. And I think that this it's not just a ban, but it is very educational in a way, because I think that with these students recognizing this, they are recognizing the value of limiting technology. I think that I see a lot of kids use technology way too much, but I think that having this ban can maybe help students kind of recognize the value of maybe just stepping away from technology every now and then so that we can focus on real human interaction and real communication in the real world, not online or through some digital device. And as the teacher said, being able to teach without having phones as an interruption, that is a plus. And it's amazing because when you have students' attention more and they're not thinking oh, well, when can I get my phone out? As soon as the teacher looks away, I'm going to, go down and check and see what so-and-so is doing, on Instagram. They're not concerned about that. And I think that you're going to see the effects of, student work. And I think it will be very, very interesting to see at the end of the school year how student achievement is affected. I'm curious to see how student achievement changes or stays the same, after this year with this new phone ban, because I do suspect and I do believe that you are going to see that student achievement actually goes up because of this ban. I think that there is going to be a direct link. Maybe not initially, but we're gonna find out that this ban has had a monumental, a great positive effect on student achievement throughout the state. So I am excited about this and curious to see how this all turns out at the end of the year. But those are my thoughts. Again, I just wanted to report on this because I thought it was very interesting. It is encouraging. It is affirming. That's probably the best word that I had, affirming to see that this is something that is good for students, for teachers as well, and you know. I'm glad to see that students recognize the value in it. But, what do you think? What's going on in your state? And, how have cell phone bans, or how could they improve the quality of education where you teach? Let me know down in the comment section. Also, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, share this video, and, that helps me out here on Classroom Camp. Thank you for watching. That's all I've got for you in this one. I will see you in the next one.